We don't need to wait for history to judge how he's getting on with that. And as the global media he supposedly loathes gorged on the red meat he'd toss them, Harry did precisely what any dignified member of Britain's proudest institution would never do. Fact. He toured with TV studios with lurid tidbits for clapping seals.
Can you explain how it is that the royal standard got frostnip?
We've taken quite a leap from grief and trauma to my Todger.
That doesn't make sense.
Todger, that's a very gentle word.
Is it gentle?
Todger. Sounds like a nice nickname.
Was that befitting of a member of the royal family? Can anyone seriously take Harry seriously as a counsellor of state, shouldering the burden of 1,000 years of history as Britain's representative across the world? And Harry and Meghan are not exactly turning down the gas on their flamethrowing. Their client, journalist and professional lickspittle, Omid Scobie, published a book in which he accidentally outed the King and Princess Catherine as racists. An implausible, ludicrous claim which unwittingly did more damage to the Sussex racism smear than anything else.
OK, I'm listening. You have my attention.
And they jetted to Jamaica to attend a movie premiere just as King Charles revealed he'd been treated in hospital for an enlarged prostate, posing for smiling photographs with a Jamaican Prime Minister who literally wants to abolish the monarchy. For Harry to now claim he's ready and willing to serve his country and his king is frankly an insult. We all know what this is really about. Netflix is reportedly planning to pull the plug on Harry and Meghan's $100 million deal.
Okay.
Their series caused a lot of media outrage, but didn't even crack the top 200 shows on the platform last year. Spotify cancelled Meghan's dreary podcast. Without their royal links, the brutal reality is that Harry and Meghan are of no interest to anybody. Fact. And that's why they're rebranding, yet again, to double down on their dubious royal status. Their previous website, Archewell, inspired by their son Archie, now automatically redirects to sussex.com. A glossy picture of the couple dominates the main page.
Are you serious?
Overlaid with a text to the office of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The website has nothing to do with king and country or the royal family, and Harry and Meghan have no royal duties to speak of.
What?
They never put a shift in. They're brazenly exploiting the institution they simultaneously profit from trashing, and we're all being taken for the ride. The late Queen was right. They can't be half in, half out.
Stop it.
And they're out. They sold their royal souls for life as reality stars, trading every private cough and splutter for cash. The King should now return the favour and strip them of their tenuous titles.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And end this Sussex circus for good. Well, to debate all this is my royal pack, the uncensored contributor, Paula Rowan-Adrian, the royal editor, Sarah Hewson, and from New York, the columnist Maureen Gallagher. Well, welcome to all of you. All right, let me start with you, Sarah, to set the scene here for what's really going on behind the scenes. Lots of messages seemingly being communicated to the media.
Mixed messages, I think.
Very much mixed messages.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
What do you read into it? What should we read into it?
It's really hard to read between the lines here, but there were reports over the weekend that Prince Harry has made it be known that he would be willing to make a temporary return.
What is he doing?
To the royal fold, to try and relieve some of the pressure on the royal family while his father
Do we
and
believe
his sister-in-law
this, first of all?
Look, I mean,
it looked well sourced to me.
Yeah, I think it's probably very likely that he has said at some point, and
Are you serious?
perhaps in some ways we could say it's laudable. He said, look, if you're really struggling, I can come back. I will do that.
You know what I found?
But it's not going to happen.
You know what I was struggling with, using the word struggling, was his explanation that, these kind of family
Stop it.
situations where someone's very sick can bring everyone back together when he, according to the other members of the family, is single-handedly responsible for all the fallout in the first place. Fact.
But it seems to me, from his tone and his language, that he is now seeking some kind of rapprochement. It's much more conciliatory language that we're hearing from Harry. No more demands for an apology from the family before any kind of
But from what I've read,
contact.
and it looked pretty well sourced again, an emphatic no thanks
Yeah, absolutely no way back.
Particularly from Prince William.
I think that's the biggest mountain that Harry has to climb.
Are you serious?
It may well be that behind the scenes there are cordial conversations taking place with his father. And that is what he's talking about when he says, this can bring families back together. And so it should. His father has cancer and has always wanted Harry to come back. But there's a big difference between family relations and then Harry making an official comeback as a working member of the royal family. The terms of the Sandringham summit were absolutely clear.
All in.
Okay.
Late Queen
Or all
said
out.
You can't be half in, half out.
Okay.
You're in or out.
Let me bring in Maureen here. I mean, Maureen, I've got to say, whenever we try and find people in America to defend Harry and Meghan, it's almost impossible. Nobody wants to come on and defend them over there. What is the mood about them over there?
Well, Piers, this is, again, it seems like we talk about this all the time. Whenever I'm lucky enough to do your show, the feeling of Americans, and we have absolutely had it. And the temerity of Harry to go on an American morning breakfast program,
That doesn't make sense.
Good Morning America, and use a sort of trumped up event a year out promoting the Invictus Games to happen next year, to soft pedal some sort of possible reconciliation with Prince Charles, and then to later leapfrog off of that with a story placed in the Times of London with this bombshell claim that not only did Harry want to return and was willing to help out, what an offer, but that the palace might be open to that as well. It's been really a remarkable 2 weeks
Are you serious?
in terms of just the timeline of events and the series of humiliations that Harry and Meghan have suffered, from the breakneck 24-hour trip to London to the UK to see Charles, and to get only 30 minutes, to hear later from Charles's staff that they, quote, couldn't wait to get rid of him because they were afraid he would never leave, to William not seeing him nor speaking to him.
So that was a lie.
To William then saying emphatically, and Charles's office briefing emphatically, there is no way back for these two. And when you couple that with Meghan's rare quietude this week, she was seen but not heard from on GMA in America. She was barely mentioned in the Times of London, and when she was, it was at the bottom of the piece.
Are you serious?
I actually think there's quite a lot of intrigue happening right now, and it will continue to unfold in the coming weeks and days.
Yeah, and I'm afraid the cynic in me says that this is all because their life in America is
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
not going as well as they hoped. The millions have been stemmed by them being turfed off platforms like Spotify because they were effing grifters, according to one of the executives there, and produced terrible content.
Are Prince Harry and Meghan about to escape to a new country? Why are the King and Queen having to face protesters? Why has Prince William's football outfit caused a stir? And how does Catherine change her dresses to be more demure? We have lots to discuss this week.
Oh, my.
Welcome to Palace Confidential. I'm Jo Elvin, and on my panel today is the Mail on Sunday's royal correspondent Natasha Livingston, the paper's editor-at-large Charlotte Griffiths, and the Daily Mail's diary editor Richard Eden. Welcome to you all. Now, if you haven't seen our Richard discuss how Catherine became the most important woman in the royal family on Eden's Royals, what have you been doing? Stick around to the end of the episode when it will be up next. And a reminder, if you don't already, please do join our ranks of subscribers here on the Daily Mail's Royal channel. Click that button and never miss another episode of your favourite royal show.
We don't do that here.
Right, we have so much to discuss this week. We're going to start with Prince William. Natasha, first up, Let's discuss William in black tie.
Yeah, Prince William has been busy. Last night he was at the Centrepoint Awards, which is a very glitzy ceremony, but it was celebrating the really important cause, which is young people who have transformed their lives after being homeless. And we know that that is an issue, a campaign that Prince William is really serious about. He's about to have an ITV documentary covering this issue. I've seen it, and it's really poignant. And
Boy.
obviously, that's also an issue that comes from his mother. But yes, his cousin was there, Lady Kitty Spencer, is that right? And so that was a very glamorous event, but for a really important issue.
Are you serious?
And then from black tie to white shoes, and these have caused a bit of a stir, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, the brand itself was quite popular online. I was practicing the pronunciation. I think it's Veja.
Yeah.
I think it's a French brand, but they're very trendy white trainers.
And vegan.
Yes, vegan.
Yes.
And I think Catherine herself might have worn them with a suit before. But yeah, he was wearing it it was an event for NFL Foundation UK.
Wow.
Which is, again, it's a charity that supports young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And it was quite an engaging event. He was playing a bit of American football and, being really popular and getting on really well with the young kids. And, engagements like that are always really popular, I think, where they're a bit more active rather than just sort of handshaking. But, I don't know, Royals in trainers, maybe we'll see more of it.
Well, the Veja trainers are sort of like part of the mum uniform as well, aren't they? Sort of like floral dress, denim jacket, trainers.
So I was going to say, maybe I've seen you in them before.
I wear them to the office sometimes, but mine aren't white at all anymore. His were box fresh. They were so white. Mine are all sort of scuffed now.
Oh, bless William. He probably just wears them once and then, gives them to a servant.
They're made of mushroom leather, so maybe they're biodegradable.
And they're great. They always look really good. Now, the Royals, Richard, are by and large traditional, but it seems that the younger ones, the new crop coming in, and their fashions are evolving.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, this is fun. King Charles is a very stylish dresser, really.
Are you serious?
He is.
And for his shoes, he's always favoured traditional English names, usually made in Northampton.
Yeah, so very heritage, very, sustainable quality.
Yeah, brands like Tricker and what's the other one?
Churches.
Yeah, right.
I don't think
Wales
there's Churches actually,
likes.
but Crockett and Jones, or there's very traditional brands. And it's hard to imagine King Charles in a pair of box fresh white trainers, but perhaps for royal warrants in the future, we might have one for makers of trainers or sneakers, as the Americans say.
You never know. You never know.
Has he ever been seen in trainers? I don't know.
What?
Maybe
must
while
have
playing
been.
sport, perhaps.
Maybe,
I think we would dedicate a whole episode of Palace Confidential if Prince Charles, King
must
Charles,
have had
wore white trainers.
A couple of Playboy Prince moments in a pair of trainers. Probably, sort of like old Adidas sneakers or something, if we're thinking the 70s, right?
We have to dig out the archive.
Yeah,
it's
that's a good montage for us to look into.
Next week.
But Charlotte, Prince William was also praised for his throwing ability.
Yeah, apparently he's got a very strong arm when it comes to throwing an NFL ball, which is different from a rugby ball.
See, this is like Charlotte's got all the important information
so much
here.
about
I like
sport.
this. Yeah.
But it was quite funny because one of the people on his team said he actually throws better than I do. And she's, a sort of NFL player. So obviously he is really good at it. And he did. He kind of was aiming for this net with holes in, and he got 2 out of the 4 throws. First time ever. It's not so bad. And there was this quite young kid, he must have been about 10, who was kind of quite bossy with William, actually. It was quite funny to see. And he was going, no, put your hand like this. No, move your hand like this. And William looked a little bit taken aback. And I can't imagine he's bossed around too often, let alone by a 10-year-old boy. But he really took it with good grace and cracked a few funny jokes. He said he's going to practice at home and might smash a few windows back at home.
Do you see me laughing, my nigga?
It's really nice to see William on that old kind of fun, relaxed form that we used to see.
And it's been a tough couple of years, hasn't it? So I think that's great. Now we're going to stick with royal style for a minute because I wanted to look at a fascinating piece that was on Mail Online where Claire Gisotti pulled together the ways that the royals alter their outfits for both recycling and modesty reasons and how Catherine has followed the late Princess Diana in this regard. So Natasha, one that really stands out is the Jenny Packham gold finger dress that Catherine wore to a James Bond premiere.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was back in 2021. It was a classic red carpet event, and yeah, it was gold and sequined, and it had really sort of fixed, firm shoulders, but sort of draped kind of down the arms, and it glittered in all the photos, and she just really looked like, you know, a sort of Hollywood star. But yeah, it was made to be a bit more demure for the Princess of Wales, so the kind of neckline hem was raised a bit, just to kind of, yeah, make it a bit more elegant than maybe your average sort of Bond girl. But yeah, that looked really great.
Shut up, bro.
And Charlotte, it was a similar story with an Elie Saab dress that she wore to another royal wedding.
Yeah, she wore this incredible Elie Saab dress, and although it was high neck and long sleeves, which in theory is quite modest,
Are you serious?
it was meant to have these kind of transparent panels and sort of slits down the legs. Especially down the front. And on the catwalk, it looked incredible, but it would have looked a bit out of place for the Princess of Wales. So she just had it altered to cover up those bits and made it look, I mean, it looked stunning, actually.
Smart. Now, Natasha, it seems that Diana was also fond of an outfit alteration.
Yeah, well, we know that Princess Diana was really bold with her fashion choices over the years, that ranged from kind of casual to the red carpet looks. But there was one particular dress that was mentioned in this article. I think she wore it to an event in Qatar around in the 1980s, 1984, and it had quite long sleeves, and it was, again, much more sort of covered in that sense. And then 2 years later, I think at an event in Cameroon, she just got rid of the sleeves, and it looked, you know, totally different. But yeah, recycling in a way that's, you know, very popular these days.
Do you know what? I think I could host a whole show about nothing but royal fashion. I
You'd
love
be
it.
brilliant at it, Jo.
Fascinating. Well, so would you, sitting there resplendent in your royal purple. Well, as this show goes out, the King and Queen will be setting off to Australia and Samoa for an important royal trip. Our Rebecca English is never far behind the pair, and she's out there too. You will not be surprised to know. She sent us this report from Australia where the excitement is really building.